Yeah, as usual, gonna give all praises to Yahweh,
Hashem, Yahushai, Yahar, Yakar, Kadash.
Yeah, double honors to the elders and apostles in Israel, the rule and teacher, the Akims of the Iris and Bios, those pushing videos in truth and sincerity, to the brothers and sisters in the truth. And you know, so this kingdom is finished, man.
Ah, no.
Yeah? When you look at the prophecies in the scriptures, we ain't got much left. Yeah, two main ones, what? The mark of the beast and world war. Yeah, but you know, we have to get me our second Ezra, so second Ezra, so 15. And this place is getting through, man. And a lot of our people believe that we've got grass. Sis.
Your bag, you've broken your bottle.
A lot of our people believe that our faith is a blind faith. But you know what increases our faith? Prophecies, man. Actually, I can quickly grab that. Second Ezra 15. Verse 1. Verse 1.
Right, this is the book of... Yeah, this is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 1.
So these are the things that increase our faith. Because the Bible is a book, and it was written by a man. A lot of people try to come up and say, well, you know, who was it written by? Yes, it was written by a man. But show me a book that wasn't written by a man. The difference between the Bible is that believe in the Bible says, no? Can I ask why? You're school, can I ask why you don't believe in the Bible?
Well, I shouldn't say I don't believe in the Bible. I think there's some truth in the Bible.
That's a start.
You know, if I said to you that you've never been taught the Bible properly, would you believe that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, the Bible, do you know who it's relating to?
Us.
Who's us?
The people of the earth.
All nations? So the Bible says God made man from the dust of the ground, so that would refer to all nations.
Yeah,
but it's
right.
a bit more specific.
Okay.
Quickly get me Amos 3 and 1. Listen to this. Because see what the Bible says, it's a true book, but we've never been taught it properly.
I agree with that.
Yeah? So what we do, we come out here to teach our people who we are according to the Bible, why we're in the condition we're in. Let me get you something. Why we're in the condition we're in, and how to get out of the condition we're in. Now, he said, when you
What are you
go,
looking for? Your son's in it? Yeah. I've got mine here. Oh, you got it?
no, now, when you say Ham, like, after the flood, according to the scriptures, all nations today descend from one of Noah's 3 sons. When you say you're Ham, that means you descend from Noah's son Ham.
Which was his youngest son.
Yeah.
Ham was the youngest son of Noah.
Now, the Hamites are a dark race of people of color. But what they don't teach you is that we come from Shem. Yeah, and we are also a dark race of people. Not all of the Shemites are a dark race of people, especially today. I just want to quickly read something to you. Now, this is and this is what the scholars know that they don't teach us. Now, this is the Zondervan Combat Bible Dictionary. Because what you realize, what they put out in the public is normally one thing, but what the scholars write, they normally keep it as truthful as possible. Because if I become a scholar, and you're a scholar, and I'm looking at your work, I'm going to pull you up for where your scholarship falls short. So what you tend to find out is that the scholars normally print, for the most part, the truth. So it says, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor, meaning the forefather, of the dark races.
Hear this point.
Not the Negroes.
Do you hear that point? He said, the dark races, but not the Negroes.
But the Egyptians,
Ethiopians,
Canaanites, and Libyans. So when you read the scriptures, you know the story of Moses, how Pharaoh's daughter took him in as her son, and he passed to Pharaoh's grandson. So Moses was a Shemite, Pharaoh was a Hamite. But the fact that he could pass for his grandson lets you know that they can look alike.
Okay, so Empress Lassia.
Well, we're told that he's an Ethiopian. Now, if he is an actual Ethiopian, not Shemites, but Ethiopians are Hamites.
Ethiopians come from the seed of Ham, and Shemites come from like Shem, which is Noah's the second, the middle son, because Japheth is the oldest son. Then you got Shem, and then you got Ham.
Yeah, so that's what they know. So, like it says,
and the scholars know this for a fact. Because they put it in these books, because not many people know about some of these books unless you do your research.
Yeah, so that's what we're saying. So what we come ahead now get Exodus 11:7. Remember, Moses passed for Pharaoh's grandson. So that shows that we can look like the Egyptians, because the Egyptians are also a dark race people, but we're not Egyptians. We are, like today they call us Negroes. Yeah? We're Shemites.
No.
Hamites. The Egyptians are Hamites.
Kemet.
Ham.
Kemet is out from Ham.
Yeah. And the descendants of Ham. Yeah. Now, 11:7.
Yeah, listen to this, yeah? This is the book of Exodus, chapter 11 and verse 7, and it reads, but against...
Come over here.
Yeah, come this way. Yeah.
You don't mind, you're going to be on camera. As long as you don't mind.
Alright, this is the book of Exodus, chapter 11 and verse 7, and it reads, but against any of the children of Israel...
That's who we are.
Shall not a dog move his tongue.
These other nations should be saying nothing against us.
Against man or beast.
Our people, us as the people.
That ye may know how that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptian and Israel.
Even though we may look alike, there's a difference between us. Yeah? And this is what, like a lot of our people believe that we are related to the Egyptians, but what they've done, they've debased us as a people and shown us the wonders and the wiles of people, because I'm a dark race of people. But all of that is to steal our identity so that we don't know who we are. Now, the Bible, one of the things that separates, one of the main things that separates it from these other books, is that remember the Bible is written by a man. But it's meant that it's inspired by God. Like, someone can just sit down and say, well, what am I going to write today? Exactly. So now, one of the things that separates the Bible from the other books is what's known as prophecy. So prophecy is how we identify who we are in the scriptures. Because we've grown up really from separation. So we've been called Jamaicans, Black British. No. You're an Israelite. Well, I'm going to show you.
We're going to show you.
So are there such people there?
Yes, they are.
And what do they look like?
You got the Somalians. Yeah. See how about this.
You got Canaan.
Yeah, no, what they...
like today.
Yeah. The Somalians, the Ethiopians, Eritreans. Yeah. They're Hamites. Because when you look at well, you know, those from Ghana, West Coast, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, they're Israelites. When you look at the history, we migrated over there through Roman persecution. Yeah? Now, when you look at Somalians, Eritreans, and so forth, when they come over here, they're mixed with so-called Americans. When you look at Ghanaians, Nigerians, when they come over, they're mixed with us. Why? Just the thing is, when during the transatlantic slave trade, not all of us were slaves. So those that were left, they grew back with the population.
Just to add to what Rob said, even some of them that were left, because some of them got conquered in the lands where they were, they lost their heritage as well. So not everybody was still practicing keeping the laws and commands, so they should have.
Well, that's where we were taken from originally. And then before that, we came from the land that's known as Israel. And then in 70 AD, which is a prophecy in the Bible, that's when the Romans then kicked us out. We fled deeper into Africa. But what they don't teach us is that Israel is actually part of the land that's in Africa. It's northeast Africa. But when the white men went there, what they did, they built what's known as the Suez Canal to separate it and call it the Middle East. Because when you think of Africa, what color people do you think? And when they say Middle East, they tell you this olive, meaning not black. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what they don't teach us. Now, this is how we know who we are in the Bible. Let me Deuteronomy 29 and go on.
It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 29 and verse 1. And it reads...
Or
in Christianity.
Yeah, and before that, I was in the church. Yeah, So, and then what happened, what I'm going to show you now, because I grew up in Seventh-day Adventist, sort of left the church, but I still believed in the Bible, still believe in God. And I saw a video which was going to break down the next chapter I'm going to read. And I thought, no, what's all about me, right? And everything just made sense, what was being brought out. And it made me realize why we as a people, as great as we are, look at the bottom. And how to get out of it.
Well, they basically changed the mindset.
Well, we've been destroyed, but the Bible teaches you other things.
It tells you why, and it even tells you what you've got to do to come out. And this is the problem with our people. We're hard-headed.
Well, not only that, their mind has been set, reset, and conditioned. Yes.
But do you know that's what the curses? I'm going to show you. This is who these curses are upon. 29 is one.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29 and verse 1. And it reads, These are the words of the covenant which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel.
So when we came out of Egypt, when Moses delivered us out of Egypt, we made a covenant with God. And that covenant is binding today. Now the term God is just a title. His name in the Hebrew is Yahweh. Yahweh. Yeah. Yah means he, Yahweh means the truth. The one that called Jesus, his name is Yahweh Shai. He delivers or he saves. Yes? So this covenant is made with the children of Israel. Now jump to 28 and 1. And we're going to go through the covenant, and this is how we realize or identify who we are. But they used to teach us that we're African, that we're Hamites. But this proves that we're not Hamites, we're Shemites. 28 and 1.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. And it reads, And it shall come to pass,
I mean, it's going to happen.
if thou shalt
Stipulation.
if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments.
What must they do? Right.
How many of them? All. You see? All his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So Moses said, keep my commandments and I'll set you above all these nations. But our people are fighting for equality. That's not equality. In verse 30, this is one of the questions.
Verse 13 of Deuteronomy chapter 28.
When we descend ourselves short fighting for equality.
And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail. And thou shalt be above only. And thou shalt...
When we share something with another people, the most I say, you should be above only.
And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. If, stipulation, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them.
That's the first part of the covenant. It's a binding covenant which is active to this day. Now read verse 15.
Verse 15 of Deuteronomy chapter 28. And it reads, but it shall come to pass, if, stipulation again, if thou wilt not hearken
Don't listen carefully.
unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall...
Think of curse, shall not bother them. Just bad things. Bad things.
Shall-
When people hear the word curse, you get this stupid. Yeah, there's just all these bad things.
shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now, the blessings are from 2 the bad things, the curses are from 16. This is how we identify who we are.
Verse 44 of chapter, verse 45 of verse 45 of Deuteronomy chapter 28, and it reads, moreover, all these curses, bad things, shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. Verse
For us to really be in good standing with the Most High, we need commandments.
verse 46. Verse 46 of Deuteronomy chapter 28.
These are things that they don't teach us.
And they shall be upon thee
Curses shall be upon you,
for a sign
sign,
and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
these are generational bad things. You got children? Well, if you have children, these curses are going to be upon them. They have children, it's going to be upon them. Now, for sign, what is the purpose of a sign? If I said to you, meet me outside Iceland, are you going to let us it identifies where Iceland is. These curses is an identifier to show you who the children of Israel are. These curses are God. One of the curses, to understand curses, you need to know the history. That's how to understand prophecy, you need to know the history. This is how you verify whether the prophecy has happened or not. So what I want to do is go through some of these prophecies. You told me what nation of people they fit. Some of these curses, they can fit on certain of the other races. Then they narrowed it down. So, verse 30.
This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 30.
Remember, this is not for the nation of people.
Thou shalt betroth a wife,
Engaged to a wife,
and another man shall lie with her.
engaged to a wife, violate, so read that again.
Thou shalt, Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
This is it in the New English translation. You'll be engaged to a woman and another man will rape her. Now, in history, what nation of people do you know that had their woman ravished or violated as a nation? Does that happen? What did our sisters do? Our sisters do.
Our women, that's our
When
women.
they violated and ravished, and that happened to us majority as a nation. But you won't find that happening to other nations. I'm not saying throughout these other nations their women has been raped at times, but as a mass, as a nation, that's what happens to them. We don't know.
Still in the verse 30. Thou shalt build an house,
Build a house.
and thou shalt not dwell therein.
Apart from us, what nation do you know built something that they didn't dwell in? And who built up the society? What was that? Who was dwelling in this society? Exactly.
Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
Like cotton field, cane field, tobacco field, Rubber plantation. Who was the workforce? Who benefited? Exactly. Jump to verse 40.
Verse 30.
Now this one there, you see a lot of slave givers.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eye shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand.
You have any strength to take them back? And even today, they come into your house.
Deuteronomy is a slave.
No, it's
There
true.
you
You
go.
know what I'm saying? You see, in all the slave films, read on.
Verse 33. The fruit of thy
Now,
land.
the fruit of your land is not necessarily just talking about food, it's talking about your resources. So,
The fruit, verse 33, the fruit of thy land and all thy labours shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
if you look at our people that's over in the West Coast, even in the things that I forgot, I think it was carbine or something that you get in the mobile phone, comes from one of the Congo. Yeah?
Makes the phone vibrate.
Yeah, but who benefits from it? Exactly. It says, the fruit of that land shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. Like, I saw a YouTube video the other day where there was a mountain in Africa where they found gold. Bag of gold in the mountain. Anywhere they dig gold. I bet you any money, these other nations are going to be taking that gold. You know? Either through some kind of wild or death, you know, bribing government. Yeah? Now jump to 48. Alright, let me read you one more. Alright then, I get that. What's the reason why we're going through this first? Because we couldn't do what? Read verse 15.
Verse 15 of Deuteronomy chapter 28. But it shall come to pass, if thou shalt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments.
And that's what we're not doing as a people, the commandments of God. I just want
Yeah, that's what it's on.
And there's more than 10.
I know. It's
I just want to give you one commandment. A lot of our sisters break it. And this is a minor commandment, which keeps us in the condition that we're in.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 5.
If you don't know something, you can't start to apply it. It's not judging our sisters, but just trying to enlighten our sisters as to how to get the right state of the Most High.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 5. And it reads, the woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
That's how the Most High sees it. So what is a woman's garment that a man should wear? Dress. So what do women wear that pertains to men? But one of the reasons is, you know, it puts a spirit on you. For instance, what man do you see in a dress that gives you masculinity? Because the feminine spirit on it. In like manner, when women in pants are a bit more bolded. No, I'm just saying.
We're just showing you one of the laws that.
Condemn you.
Yeah, I know.
If you don't know better, you can't do that. Yeah, but why? We've been taught this. If you go back to before 1940s, you'll find no women. There's something that will... Isaiah.
Isaiah.
Women should not alter their appearance.
No. Actually, get First Timothy.
Because that to me is more important than the pants. Because that's your hair. Yeah?
No, but the thing
And that is your crown.
But no, most I gave us commandments.
Yeah. Yeah. So why can't you obey what you have in given.
No, but that's one of the commandments.
Yeah.
That woman should be able to to a man, even to the man.
What about a woman ultimately? What about a woman who wants to get implants? What about a woman who wants to get lips and
Well, listen to this, 1 Timothy 2.
Yeah, it's the book of 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 9. And it reads, in like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
Yeah, women should dress in modest apparel. You know what I mean by modest apparel? Not sexual. Modest apparel.
With modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with braided hair, or gold, or pearls, or costly array.
It doesn't mean that women can't have braided hair, they wear the gold or the costly array. But when you look at women today, they tend to be more about their outward appearance than their inner. That's what they're saying. Don't be so much worried about the outward appearance and the inside is rubbish. It's why the inside. So you're talking about women and their hair. It's nice to be your hair and it's nice in it. But what's the point walking down the street of your face?
Your heart is wicked, you know. So you look good on the outside, but your heart is wicked.
That's what the Bible teaches us to fix up our inside. Get ourselves right to the whole side. And the way we do that is by the doors of faith.
See, the problem with us, the problem with us.
What about meditation?
Look, you can see that prayer, and fasting, that is the form of meditation. Yeah? But see, but you got to meditate on the right things. You got to meditate on
Frequencies, energy.
Now you see the kind of a teacher. See, things like this. I know
don't
you're
teach you,
no, because what happens is that, see, this is the this kind of thing is a man. The Bible teaches us how to please God, but we tend to gravitate what man says. Just like even the trousers. Let's just go back there just to show you the point. Just like the point of the trousers. Now, man makes women trousers and say it's okay. But in the Bible, they're called breeches. They were only he said put them on Aaron and his sons. The trousers never went on women. And if you go back even like before the Second World War, you'll find no women in trousers. Even if you look at them slave movies on the battlefield, you see them with their long dresses, skirts, you know, and they were working. It's only during the war, when men went to war, women had to go to factories. And women had to go in overalls. But you know, what do women do in trousers? I don't think you can do it.
So she just she's wearing a skirt as well.
No, it's not the same.
No, but women are more likely. Women are more likely to put on trousers.
Unless it's a pencil skirt or something, then she might be looking at the shape of her body. If it's just a normal skirt or dress, I've seen women in dresses and that not lucky.
Well, because I didn't know you get somebody like this anyway, so regardless of what they're wearing, they'll still be buttoned down just to the side. Women in pants, women especially wear bigger fucking pants that shows the figure. So a man tends to approach you. Not thinking about, this is a good wife.
He's thinking of his flesh.
Yes, that was the lust in the head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But most of these laws are there to separate us from the examinations. It's a whole speech. But what I want to do Let me read you one scripture before you go. Deuteronomy 7:6. This is what I'm telling you.
What about the Hebrew says they are many?
So hopefully you're one of those people. So we come out here.
Hopefully I am.
Whoa, wait, you don't know. You don't know. Even though he says when he
don't know.
No, because today,
But you must be able to feel it.
no, but there's brothers upset. The brother that brought me into the truth, his video. No, the first 2 years when I brought his video, and the Lord, you met the kingdom. So, Lord willing, he keeps me into this till I die. At the same time, tomorrow, you can pass here and see me. We say, Yahweh you don't know what's going on.
You got to remember, because Christians always like to say, oh, they're saved already. But you can't make that claim. You cannot make that claim because the Bible says, he that endures unto the end, the same shall be saved. Remember, notice the word shall be saved. It didn't say you are. So you have to endure to the end because this is a refining process. See, like how we've read you some law, and you see, most high is taking no, so the angels are out, they're taking no. So he knows now you know something. Now you apply it. That's the thing, you see.
But how do you know I haven't already applied?
You don't apply what you know.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying over, right? Now you know.
But I have been thinking about it anyway.
Well, that's what it's
Right, exactly.
Did you know that?
Like you eat all this work and you gotta do what you gotta do. Fish that doesn't have Indian scales.
I know we like to frog. He's a mackerel.
Some brothers say you can eat it because it's got micro scales, and they'll use that to say, well, you can eat it, but you can't physically see the scales. Let me just read this and then I want to leave you on the up. I want to leave you on the up.
I am up
Well, this is going to
already.
leave you more up.
This is gonna
I'm up
big
because
up.
then you shared with me, so I'm up
We'll
already.
read quick. He's going to read quick.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 6 and it reads, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
These other nations, because we're the heroes of them. Even more so, check out the channel. And you're
Beloved, very nice.
okay. Have a good day, sister.
Have a good day, beloved sister.
Yeah, let's go back to the yeah, because this Bible is a truth, man. Our people, when they get, well, not everybody, but for some of our people, the elect, those who follow the language wherever he goes, when you hear this word, it resonates with you, man. Especially, and you know that it's the truth that's being spoken. Not the feel-good factor that they give us in Christianity. But like I was saying, the faith that we have is not blind faith. You know, we have a thing called prophecy in the Bible, and these are what increases our faith. Bring that out.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 1. And it reads,
Good.
and it reads, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people.
That's what we do. We come out here to speak to you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, so-called Native American Indians. He says, my people,
The words of prophecy.
because you're the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Now we'll come to speak to you the words of prophecy. And the prophecy lets you know that a remnant will repent and return to the Most High. And that's who we come out here for. And you know, Yahweh Ratazar, that sister, she's one of those remnants.
Which I will put in thy mouth, saith Yahweh our power.
And you ain't gonna find this in the mouth of your church pastors your preachers.
You move your position.
Well, for now, yeah. You're not going to find this word in the mouth of your pastors and your preachers. You know, in the mouth of your community leaders. Because they're not sent by the Most High to give you the words of prophecy, God.
They're sent to extract what they call tithing out of you. That's what they do. Verse 2 of 2nd Ezra chapter 15. And listen to this, Israel, and cause them to be written in paper.
Yeah, so we've got no excuses now. These people have been documented so that we can come back to them over and over, because word of mouth is good, but we're so destroyed as a people, sometimes we need things to be written down. Not in your memory might not even be that good. So if it's written down, you know that you can go back to it.
For they are faithful and true.
They're faithful and true because what the Isaiah 46. They're faithful and true because they're coming from the Most High Yahweh. Yeah? The Most High is not a man that he should lie. This is why we know that these prophecies are faithful and true. Yeah,
The book of Isaiah, chapter 46 and 10, and it reads, declaring the end from the beginning.
Only the Most High can do it, right? Because he's the orchestrator of everything that happens. Yeah, he declares the end from the beginning. And we have it written down in the scriptures. So there's no real reason for us to not know what's going to happen.
Right.
The only reason why people don't want to know because we choose to stay ignorant, or we choose to stay in our wicked ways.
That's right. I'll take it from the top again. Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 10. Declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times the things that are not yet done.
Right. And we know that through prophecy. Yeah? There's tons of prophecy in this scripture. Like I said, there's only a couple main ones left. Actually, I've got Jacob's Troubles. Jacob's Troubles, Mark of the Beast, World War. But we're at the end of this thing, man. You just need to continue to persevere and endure to the end.
Saying, my counsel shall stand.
Yeah, he says the Most High counsel will stand. So whatever he says, it's a done deal. This is why his words are faithful and true.
And the Most High will do all his pleasure.
All his pleasure. And part of his pleasure is to save a remnant of his people. Not a remnant of everybody. Well, a remnant of each nation will be saved, but you're being saved from captivity, man. Just like how we built up your kingdom, we're going to need someone to build up our kingdom, man.
That's right.
The Most High is going to put us through all this tribulation, and when the kingdom comes, we're going to pick up hammer and nails and stone and build up our own kingdom.
That's right.
No, the rulers of this kingdom never built it. They weren't the workforce. So just like in the kingdom of heaven, we're not going to be the workforce. These other nations are going to be the workforce. Get on Jeremiah 28. And so we come out here to bring you the words of prophecy, which is faithful and true, telling the ending from the beginning, meaning we got next. Yeah? The Israelites have next. We're going to be the ruling kingdom, and it's going to be forever. Let me bring this up. This is Daniel. Daniel chapter 7. Verse 18 says, but the saints of the Most High, which are the Israelites, shall take the kingdom. We're not going to ask for it. When this kingdom was established, they didn't come and ask. They just came and took.
Right.
So in like manner, we're going to take. It says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. The kingdom that we come to proclaim is an everlasting kingdom, yeah? Overseen by Yahweh and ruled by Yahweh Shai and the elect of Israel.
Hello? You dropped something.
Our people need something better, man. And this is what we come to bring you. Something better. better than what you're getting now. Yeah? It's going to be eternal, man. But we're so distracted as a people, we can't see better than what we see here now. Yeah? Why? Because we don't read the scriptures, man. The ending is already documented. Yeah? Handmaids and servants. Yeah?
And the problem with Jake, we'll make the best of any situation.
That's right.
We're comfortable in
That is
oppression.
right.
That is the problem. We are comfortable in oppression.
That's
So
right.
rather than seek the Most High and do what He says to get out of the situation, we'll make the best of the situation and sit in it.
That's right, that's right. Yeah, 28.
Yeah. This is Jeremiah, Slaki, chapter 28 and verse 8. And it reads, "The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms."
That's what we do, man. We come to prophesy against many countries, all the other nations. The Bible says you get into captivity and against great nations. This is great kingdoms.
Yeah.
Yeah, a great kingdom. This is a great kingdom. Yeah, what we're saying to this great kingdom is going down, man. Yahushua is coming to rule and take over.
That's right. Of war
War
and
is coming. War is coming. There's been many wars before, but there's going to be one major big war left. And we're going to bring that out in the scriptures, man.
of war and of evil.
There's a lot of evil that's going on today. Yeah? The Bible said the whole earth is out of force.
That's right.
Why is it out of force? Because we're not in power, man. Yeah? When the Israelites are back in power, there's a big peace on earth. The scripture brings you that. Tells you that.
Right. And of pestilence.
And what's happening now? This Moroni is a pestilence. A lot of our people are pestilence. Yeah?
Big time.
So we come to prophesy against, not for. When you see the prophets come out in the Bible, it's rare they came out to give you sweet, gave you flowers and chocolates. It's always coming out to tell the people to get yourself right because the Most High's got the judgment coming. That's the same thing we're doing. Telling our people to get themselves right because the Most High's got the judgment coming. But what normally happens when we come out? We walk up and down like we're not here. We're the invisible men. But that's cool. In that day, you're going to remember, right, you know what, we actually saw some brown that was telling us to fix up. You're going to regret it. Yeah? Get Daniel 2. Daniel 2. So prophecy is what the Bible is full of, and that's how we measure the time. Like it says in 2 Ezra 9 and 1. Yeah? Daniel 2, 31.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 2 and verse 31. And it reads, "Thou, O King, sawest." And
This is speaking about Nebuchadnezzar. He had the dream. And he forgot the dream, and asked his wise men to tell him the dream and the meaning of the dream. And they're like, bro, if we can't remember the dream, how the hell are we going to live? This is why you know that we serve a living power, man. We serve the true power. Because the understanding of that dream was given to Daniel, man, an Israelite. God.
right, verse 31 of Daniel chapter 2 from the top. "Thou, O King, sawest, and behold a great image, and beheld, Salaki, a great image."
This is Daniel telling the king about the dream that he had. You have to remember, the king had forgotten what that dream was. God.
This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. Verse 32, "The image's head was of fine gold."
So he started to explain this image. He says the image head was of fine gold. That's speaking about the Babylonian kingdom. Yeah? The kingdom that Nebuchadnezzar ruled over. Now that was a very great kingdom. Just like how this kingdom is great, Babylon was just as great.
Right.
That's why this kingdom is called the daughter of Babylon. It was an extension of the greatness of the Babylonian kingdom back then, but even greater. That's why his judgment is going to be greater.
His breast and his arms of silver.
It says his breast and his silver. Oh, it says his breast and his arms of silver. What's that saying? The kingdom that took down the Babylonians was the Media Persia. Yeah? They took down the Babylonians. Go on.
His belly and
The fact that the Babylonians were such a great kingdom and got taken down shows that no kingdom is beyond being taken down.
That's right.
Only when we're in the kingdom of heaven, that's going to be beyond taken down.
His belly and his thighs of brass.
What's that going into? That's going into the Greeks. Alexander's Great. He took down the Media Persia, which themselves was another great kingdom.
That's right.
And imagine, these are all great kingdoms we're speaking about. Because between these kingdoms were other kingdoms, but these kingdoms fell. Yes, my brother. Showing you that none of these kingdoms don't last.
Verse 33 of Daniel chapter 2. His legs of iron, his feet.
And it says, his legs
of iron.
What's that? Who came?
Sorry to disturb you, brothers. Yeah? I'm gonna see because the incense man's coming.
Yeah.
Sorry to disturb you.
No, you're good, man. You're good. No problem, my brother.
Love this as well, brother.
Oh,
Yeah. That's how real kings should be attired. You know what I'm saying?
We will when we get in the
And you
kingdom.
got space there, yeah?
I see you're not shaving the corners of your beard either.
That's right.
Well observed,
Because I don't like people, brothers out here teaching the word and they've got shaved faces.
No. Doesn't look good. Is that enough room?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, brother. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so read that again.
Yeah, verse 33.
And that's how you know that our people are waking up, man. Not all our people are asleep. None of them are asleep, but our people are waking up to this truth, man.
Verse 33 of Daniel chapter 2. And it reads, his legs of iron.
Said his legs of iron. Who came after the Greeks? Another great empire, the Roman Empire. Yes, so you got the Babylonian, you got the Media Persia, you got the Greeks, now you got the Romans, the legs of iron. God.
And his feet part of iron and part of clay.
His feet part of iron and part clay, showing you that they were part strong and part weak. And that's also going into the Roman Empire, which is what's ruling today. That's the extension of the Roman Empire, I should say. And that's who's ruling today. So it's part iron and part clay. They're going into the seven heads that you read about in Revelation. Yeah, those kingdoms that go back to the Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, British, and you got West Germany, East Germany. Now, some would say which is what I was taught originally, but then, you know, as my elder says, when you look at the ancient map of Rome, there was no Russia. You had West and East Germany, those were the seven heads. Yeah? And why are they part strong and part weak? They need to the NATO system today, because some of those countries are strong, some of those countries are weak.
That's right. Verse 34. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands.
That stone that was cut out without hands, that's speaking about Yahweh Shai. Yeah, that's coming to take down these kingdoms.
Which smote the image upon his feet.
He said the stone smote the image, meaning it's taking down these kingdoms for his feet. The feet is also letting you know, because that's the time that we're in now. We're in the time of the feet, letting you know that this is the last empire. It's also letting you know that these people are still around. Yeah? The Romans were who? Edomites. So it's letting you know that the Edomites are still around today. So read that part again, my brother.
Verse 34 of Daniel chapter 2. Which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay.
It says he smote the image on his feet, which was of iron and clay. Meaning Yahushua is coming to take down this kingdom, God.
And break them to pieces.
And break them in pieces. Now,
Can I just add? Just wanted to add. Now, when you look at that analogy, it's showing you as well, which is a good analogy, like a man standing. If you hit a man on his feet, everything above falls.
that's what's going to happen, man.
That's it.
This is it says read that last bit again.
This is Daniel chapter 2, verse 34, the ending. And it reads, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces.
Meaning that these kingdoms are coming down. Yahushua is going to be taking them down. Now this is Micah chapter 4 verse 1. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord Yahweh shall be established in the top of the mountains, meaning the government of Yahweh Shai, is going to be established above all these other kingdoms, which is what we're reading here in Daniel. It says, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. So we're going to have that kingdom that's above all other nations, man. You read Daniel 7.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 9.
And there's many of these prophecies throughout the scriptures. This is why we can trust in these things. This is what builds our faith. This is why, we come out here and do what we do. Because we actually believe in this. And Yahweh keeps that spirit upon us, man.
That's right. And it reads, Daniel chapter 7 and verse 9. Behold, I beheld till the thrones were cast down.
Yeah, that's that kingdom, like I read in Daniel 2, the feet have been smote. Go on.
And the Ancient of Days did sit,
That's the Most High.
whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head.
So like they like to teach us in the church, the Most High ain't just a puff of smoke.
You know.
Yeah? Just because it says spirit, that don't mean it's not got a form. You know what I'm saying? It's just that the makeup is different to ours.
That's right. Whose garment this is continuation of Daniel chapter 7 and verse 9. And it reads,
You turn that off, you're not going nowhere. That's how you know this place is coming down, man. There's so much noise going around, like police them driving up and down looking busy for no reason.
Alright, this is the book of Daniel chapter 7 verse 9 from the top. And it reads, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
That's right.
Whose garment was white as snow.
So for the Most High to be able to have on a garment, there has to be a form to put it on.
Right. And the hair of his head like the pure wool.
Yeah, Negro hair, man.
His throne was like the fiery flame.
And you know what, actually, read that first bit again.
Verse 9 of Daniel chapter 7. I beheld till the thrones were cast down.
That's what we're reading about in Daniel chapter 2, where the feet were smote and all those kingdoms was taken down.
And the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. Verse 10, Salaki. A fiery steam issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him.
So that lets you know that there's a bag of angels up there. When they come back, like when you look at them movies, like Independence Day, them kind of movies, they know, because they're reading things like this. That's why you see the big mothership, then tons of little spaceships just come out of that mothership. Thousands of thousands, man. Like the war that's to come when Yahushua return, it's an unfair fight. But that's just how it is, isn't it?
Yeah. And 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him.
Now,
That's a multitude.
That's right. That's an army, you know what I'm saying?
The judgment was set, and the book.
It says the judgment was set. So the judgment for these nations are already written. Just like the judgment for 2/3 of our people are already written.
That's right.
And you can't change it. It says it was set. When something's set, that means it's a done deal. Go on.
And the books were opened. Verse 11. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain.
The beast was slain, and that's that system that is going to be brought down when Yahweh shall return. Because we're under that beast system today.
And his body destroyed and given to the burning flame.
Yeah, what's that? That's that nuclear fire, man.
Verse 12, Daniel chapter 7 still. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away.
Yeah, that's what we're reading about in Daniel. They had their dominion taken away. Go on.
Yet their lives were prolonged for a season.
Why was their life prolonged for a season? Because these nations have they have to build our kingdom. Yeah, that's showing you that they gave into captivity. And their life was prolonged for a season.
And time. Verse 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven.
And this is all prophecy that we're speaking. What does the Bible say? They are faithful and true. We believe in all of these things. That this kingdom is going to be taken down. We're in the toes and the feet today, man.
That's right.
Part strong and part weak. And you can see that. No Britain left EU. No United Nations. Everything that's written in the scripture that's coming to pass. How can you not believe the word of the Most High? Declaring the end from the beginning.
That's right. I'll take it from 13 again from the top. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 13. And it reads, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man.
And that sister's still up there now, just babbling one bit of prophecy, not in one Bible verse. This is what you're going to get in the church, man. This is why our people are so destroyed. This is why you don't really know what's happening or what time you're in.
One like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven.
Came with the clouds of heaven. What's them clouds? This is that's right. Psalms.
It's more in fun. I think he's asking a question.
Psalms 1.
Good day. I mean, you good?
Thing there. Judge yourself to say you are
Get me out first. What does it mean today?
Well, I mean to say, I go to church. I cannot judge myself. I'm a Christian.
Well, the term Christian is meant to be someone who follows Christ. That's what it's meant to be. But let me quickly show
God
you.
said the last days to let the Spirit upon all flesh, but not to do bad. But still some people get some church, they meet the people and say they could do this and they could and kill them.
No, not everybody who say they go to church, most people that say they go to church ain't actually following the example of being a Christian. So read First Peter 2.
Moses,
But check it out, right? You just said a minute ago.
Moses,
This is the whole Bible.
Oh, there's
I'm just going to say something to you. You a minute ago said that the Most High said He's going to pour out His Spirit upon all flesh. Now you've got to remember, all doesn't always mean all. This is what we have to bear in
I
mind.
know that.
Yeah.
Yes, they put more Spirit upon all flesh. But that didn't mean that because He said that.
Can I show you something as you just said that? Because the reason why I say all doesn't mean all, because like you have to remember who is audience, this is like me, I'm talking to you, say there was 10 people here now, 10 people, and I said, all can have sweet word all, but I'm talking to who I'm pertaining to. And that's what he said. When he said he would pour in the Spirit upon all flesh, he wasn't talking about the whole world. He was talking about his people, all he. Yes, that's why I want to show you all doesn't mean all, only means all the elect. Because his Spirit would be the law, statutes, commandments. Now let me just pick up with my brother left off, because he was going to show you what it means to be a Christian. Now watch this, yeah? This is the first Peter.
Look at you. Come on, man. Where's the money, man? Feel like
Can I answer this first? Because you asked two questions and I haven't even addressed the first one yet. Let me address this first and then we'll address. So let's do things one at a time. So let's do the first question you asked. Now listen to this. This is 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 21.
This is like you're going to know some of the Christians.
And it says, for even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us. Here we go. Leaving us an example. So he left us an example. So, yeah, don't worry, you're not on the camera.
What's the example he left us?
He left an example that we should follow his steps.
So he left an example that we should follow his steps. Go on.
Yeah, and here it is, verse 22. This is the example he left us. Who did no sin, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth.
When it says he did no sin, what is sin? He did no sin. He left an example. He did no sin. Yes, so what is sin? What is sin?
sin is you commit adultery.
Alright, we're going to explain it. A better way to explain it. We're going to explain it. So this is the example that Christ left us. And we need to try and keep this example to the best of our ability.
1 John chapter 3 and verse 4. And it reads, whosoever committeth sin
So remember, Christ didn't do no sin. It says, whosoever committeth sin.
transgresses also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
Sin is the breaking of the law. So Christ didn't break God's commandments. To some of them we can. Some is visible, some sins are visible, some we won't really know unless we catch you doing it. So I'm going to read you one which is visible.
Which is, as you said that, we're going to show you one. As you asked, we're going to show you one that we can clearly see.
And the reason why a lot of our people sin, one of the reasons is our people is wicked. But secondly, two, we're not taught God's commandments to know, like, you got children, mommy? You give them rules, right? Or you've got rules in your house. If you don't tell them the rules, how are you going to expect them to keep the rules? So God's got laws, but our people, like the church, ain't teaching us God's laws so that we can abstain from sin. So you see, one of the problems, but this
I just get frustrated and I get
well, listen to this, mum. Listen to this. Isaiah 59 and 1 and 2.
This is Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 1. And reads, behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened, that it cannot save.
So whatever problem we're in, the Most High ain't got such a short hand. His hand ain't stuck here and this wide can't reach. He ain't got a short hand that he can't save.
Neither his ear heavy, that it cannot hear.
Even when we're praying to him, his ear ain't heavy that he can't hear our prayers. Hold on.
But there's a reason why.
But hold on, sis. Hold on. Let's finish.
Hold that thought. Listen to this, verse 2. This is why. But your iniquities have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hid his face from you, that he will not hear.
So remember, Christ left an example that we should follow his steps. No, but the thing is, sis, like I said, we're not taught God's commandments to know when we're in the midst of sin. So we could be deep in the midst of sin, thinking our good is deemed by what society says is good. Our good should be deemed by what the Most High says is good. So if Christ left us an example not to sin, and sin is a transgression of the law, then the next thing is to learn the laws. Now, I'm not saying we're going to be perfect, yeah, but if you don't know something, you can't keep something you don't know. So
that's the problem, sir. That's the problem you have, because you said you was in the church. The church doesn't teach, and you said that you gave up with the church. Now this is the problem. The church keeps you in sin.
That's right.
That's where your problem is, because they don't teach you the laws. All they do, you come in, you sing some hymns, they read a verse, and you sing and dance. You put the money in, and they say bless their thing, and then next thing you've got Sunday as well. They've got you going to church. You know, they keep. See, the problem is church has kept you in sin without you realizing, because you've gone thinking you're seeking God, but you're not, because they've kept you in sin. They teach you nothing apart from tell you what they want you to hear. Feel good verses.
A lot of our people like it like that.
And yes.
Isaiah 30 and 10 would say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right.
Why it says the seer is somebody that's supposed to look out for danger, right? Now the church pastors and priests and ministers, they've been taught in seminary school and theologian school, which come from the Roman. That's where the teaching comes from, Rome. At the end of the day, there's no escaping it. They only teach them to give the congregation what they want to hear, so they can keep coming back. When you've got them keep coming back, you've got a big congregation. What comes with a big congregation? More money in the kitty. It's a knock-on effect.
This says, we say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit.
You hear that? Speak not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things. So, you know, God's going to bless you, sister. All you've got to do is put a bit more money, sow a seed, come to church next Sunday, and we'll pray for you. That's what you're getting in the church. But what they're not doing is saying to you, sister, God said you mustn't do this. Sister, like it says in Deuteronomy 28, thou shalt not do this. They're not teaching you anything. And that's why the Most High is not hearing your prayer, because you're still in sin.
Now listen to this. This is John.
Sorry? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, because he's there at the other side. Yeah. Rock in a hard place. Yeah.
What we have to do is put our faith in the Most High. That's the best thing to do. Put our faith in the Most High. Yeah, but like I said, sis, a lot of the problem is
Yeah, but you see,
get Matthew 6. Yes, but then what must we be doing? But you know what, sis? You know what, sis? Remember, and quote, listen, but Yeah, but listen, it's good that we can remember these things and quote them, but there's an application that we have to put in place for these things to actually happen. Get in Matthew 6.
Listen to this, yeah? This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 33. And it reads, "But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness."
That's the key point. It says, and his righteousness. Do you know what that means? Luke 1, 5 and 6. I'm going to show you. The seeking the kingdom of God and his righteousness. 1. Luke 1, 5 and 6. Just go straight to the point. Luke 5 and 6.
It's the book of Luke, chapter 1.
Listen to this. It says, seek ye first the kingdom of
Listen to
God
this.
and his righteousness.
Yeah, this is the book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 6, and it reads, "And they were both righteous
They were both righteous.
before God." Here's how they were righteous before God. Yeah, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord,
This
blameless.
is what we have to be doing, sis. Seeking what it is the Most High wants me to do, and everything else will fall in place. But if you ain't got no faith in him to do that, you won't, because it's not just a case of keeping the law, it's faith and the keeping of the law. But if you say you got faith, you're going to do what he says. So what we have to do is seek out the book of the Lord, read and apply what he says. This is what our people have been taught. So yes, he may be, praying to the Most High, but at the same time, if you're not doing his will, his ears is kind of,
Like this, let's give it this example. Like the brother said, you got kids. Yeah? Yeah, but just take it. No, fine, no. But when you were growing them up when they were younger, you gave them stuff that they must do. Yeah? Yeah. Didn't you tell them, like, say you might say sweep the yard or tidy up the room? You gave them stuff to do. If they didn't do it, did you reward them? No. Check the question. What I'm trying to say, you gave your children things to do. I mean, like, we know, as parents, you'd say, like, clean up the room or tidy up this. Now, if you told them to do something, if they didn't do it, did you reward them? Did you give them? Right, and that's what's happening with the Most High and you. He said, keep my laws. You're not doing it, but you're still praying to him. You see the point we're trying to bring to you? That you have to be obedient to him. Then he hears you. You can't be disobedient, but yet still expect him to bless you, and you're not doing what he tells you.
And the thing is, a lot of us, that's what I'm saying, going back to the church, they're not teaching us what we need to do. This is Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. It says, "And now Israel, what does the Lord thy power require of thee?"
He's asking, see now, he's showing us now, as we know we're Israelites, what does the Most High God require from us? Because there's a requirement that we must do, not if we feel like, hello, that we must do.
It says, but to fear the we should always waste you. It says, but to fear the Lord thy power, to walk in all his ways.
Oh dear. Now he said to fear the Lord thy power. Now to fear him. What do you mean? What does it mean to fear him? Just like if you're going to read that, watch this. This is going to show you what it means to fear the Most High.
This is Sirach chapter 19, verse 20. It says, the fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is a performance of the law.
Hear that? So it's an action word. So if you fear, the Most High God told you to do something, keep my laws. You're going to have to learn the laws. And then what's going to happen is now, there are judgments for breaking them. Just like your children, if they don't do what you tell them, there's a penalty. They might get a smack behind, let's say. That's the penalty for not doing what you tell them. So the Most High, why is the Most High different? There's a penalty for not keeping his laws. So what you're supposed to do, you fear the judgments from him, so you would be obedient and do as he says.
It says, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul. It says to keep the commandments
See,
of
it's
the
all
Lord.
the time to keep the commandments. It's an action word. So you don't just sit there and pray and say you have faith. You've got to keep the commandments because that shows your faith. It shows that by you keeping the commandments, you believe He's going to save you from whatever situation you're in. See?
Sirach 32.
And this is the stuff that they won't teach you in church.
Sirach 32 and 24 says, he that believeth in the Lord taketh heed to the commandment.
See again, he that believes in the Lord, you believe in the Most High, you take heed of the commandments. You know there are things He said for you to do, and you do them.
And he that trusteth in Him shall never fear the worst.
Hear that? So when you trust in Him and you do as He says, you have the faith He will deliver you. Because He said He would. He's a man that won't lie. So if He says He'll do something, He will do it. But you have to do what He told you first.
Well, you said 10 commandments. You said there's a bit more than 10. Like we've got a dietary law, things that you can eat, things that you can't eat. We've got laws pertaining to days that we celebrate. Like in this society, we celebrate Christmas, Easter, Mother's Day, we just went. All of these matters, none of them's in the Bible. So even though we believe that we're serving the Most High, we're still getting on His wrong side because we're doing things that we shouldn't be doing. That's because, one, we're not being taught. So we need to read to see what He says to do and then apply what is written in the scriptures.
Do you know, like, what's coming up next? Easter. Do you celebrate Easter? Good, because that's not it's not biblical. Easter, you know, you shouldn't celebrate Easter. It's got nothing to do with the death and resurrection of Yahweh Shai, which is one that ate Christ.
Then the father was alive. When I say make right, at the time I was here. The right is make it right and the mind right. He said, you know, make right. So one day we said, you know, if you write something nice and
You know what I say to you as well, sis? You got a Bible? You have a Bible?
my Bible is
Yeah, King James?
Yeah, good.
You've got time, go and read Psalms 51, sis. You know, and just read, try and learn what the Most High wants you to do in it. Like, this is Psalms 40.
Just before you read that, can I also say, like, and if there's anything you're unsure about, right, we're on the corner here every Saturday at about 1 o'clock. Like, just on the corner
Other
here.
side of
Guys,
Iceland,
you're not
no,
just down the
side.
side. Yeah, we're there every Saturday. Every Saturday. So, yeah, stand, yeah, right how we're standing now, we're just down the side there. So if you want to learn them, because you're going to see, if you start learning the Lord and trying to keep it, you see things start happening.
When you got time, just come and check us out. This is,
No,
you just right there.
As you cross the bed, you probably hear us before you see us. Now listen to this.
Yeah, this is Psalms chapter 40, verse 8. I delight to do thy will, O my power, yea, thy law is within my heart. So this is what we have to do, sis, and we have to make haste to do it. We can't be dragging our foot, being lackadaisy. But you don't know when the Most High is going to pull you back to.
That's good.
You know what, sis? Don't worry about that, because the Bible teaches you that will happen anyway. You know what I'm saying? All you need to worry about, sis, listen, sis, all you need to worry about is that you're in right stead with the Most High. If family don't like you, I'm not that.
But what you need to do is learn. You must first learn the laws that we must keep, and then what you do slowly start applying them, and you're going to see things start changing. When you start being obedient to the Most High, He will. You know, he will be there for you.
He's got your back, sis, yeah?
Yeah.
Just stand up for him, man.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so have a good day, man.
Yeah, you're welcome, sister. Take care.
Yeah, man. Our people need that food. And the churches ain't feeding our people, man. You know? Leading our people down the wrong path. In the churches is that wide path, that wide gate that leads to destruction.
Many will say.
We're trying to bring our people to that narrow path, man. Anyway, let's go back to the word. Daniel. So like we were saying, prophecy is what strengthens our faith. Prophecy is what lets us know the Bible is a true book. Oh yeah, Daniel 7. Yeah. Because as we was talking about in Daniel 7, we're in the section of the toes. The feet and the toes. Part strong, part weak. And Yahushua is coming to take down this kingdom, man.
I'll take it at 13, This is Daniel chapter 7 and verse 13. And it reads, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man.
That's Yahushua.
With the clouds. Who's going to do the we're back on track now. Who's going to show the clouds,
This is Psalms 104. It is come back with the clouds. Psalm 104:3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot. Who walketh upon the wings of the wind. So them clouds are the chariots, man. That's what Yahushua is coming back with. That great mountain that we're going to read about in 2nd Ezra.
Back to Daniel chapter 7 and chapter 7 and verse 13. And I'll take it from the top again. And it reads, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven. Came with the clouds of heaven.
Chariots, you know?
And came to the Ancient of Days.
He came to the Most High, the Father.
I just want to make a point about that. For you Trinitarian,
that's right.
I just want to make that point again now. Just showing you the Son of Man came to the Ancient of Days. Right. Now, how can they be the same person? Could I come to myself? Okay. Right. Okay, let me read it.
Even if you don't want to go to the Old Testament, you still got 1 Corinthians 11:3. So you need the order of things.
Anyway, the Son of Man, he came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Verse 14. And there was given him dominion and glory.
That's all the kingdoms that we read about, coming under subjection to Yahushua. All nations and kingdoms are going to serve Yahweh and Yahushua.
That's right. I notice how the scripture said, and was given, meaning he didn't have the power to take it himself.
Right.
That power was given to him. Right, And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him.
Didn't read it before. But Micah chapter 4, in verse 1, it says, but in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord, the mountain of the house of Yahweh, shall be established in the top of the mountain. So the government that Yahushua is going to have will be established over all these governments.
That's right.
And it shall be exalted above the hills, above all the people. And the people shall flow unto it, and many nations shall come and say, come, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths, for the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem.
There we go.
Yeah, so we're going to be that governing body in that day, man.
This is Daniel chapter 7. I'll just take it from the top of 14 again. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people,
Says all people, man, everybody.
nations, and languages should serve him.
That's right.
His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away.
And like we just read, the saints shall inherit the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. And once our kingdom is in, that's it. Yeah, that's it. It's a done deal. There's going to be peace on earth. No war.
Right?
Let's go.
Yeah, just a little bit. Which shall not pass away,
right.
and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
That's right. Like how Yahshua is coming to destroy all these other kingdoms. This kingdom ain't going to be destroyed, man. It's going to be an everlasting kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness.
That's right.
Yeah? Where the people them are going to be rejoicing. But what does the scripture says? When the righteous are, when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn.
Right.
But when the righteous bear rule, the people rejoice. That's what's going to be happening when we're in rulership, man. We're going to be ruling in righteousness, where the people them are going to be rejoicing.
As at this moment, as you can see who's ruling now, look around you at the people. Are they rejoicing?
Everybody are mourning.
Exactly. Yeah, this is Daniel chapter 2 and verse 34. And you read, Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hand, which smote the image upon his feet.
We just read where Yahshua come and take down these kingdoms. Yeah, and all of these nations are going to be subject unto him.
That were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces.
All of these mountains, man, are going to be subject unto the glorious mountain.
Right? Verse 35. Then was the iron, then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing
Came
floor.
like the chaff, meaning everything was wiped away clean.
That's right. And the wind carried them away.
Wind, what's that wind? That nuclear. That's what's going to be destroying this kingdom, man.
That's right.
So, Second Peter. Chapter 3, and verse 10 says, But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in
Right.
which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, a boom, and the elements shall melt,
It's going to be greater than that noise, by the way, let me tell you.
and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Yeah? That's the wind taking away this place, man.
Right. Yeah, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them.
Because once this place is destroyed, especially America, we did. Yo,
Hey.
you look a pervert. Yeah? So once this place is destroyed, yeah, especially America, there's going to be no more kingdom. No one's going to be dwelling there anymore. Yo,
What are you taking our picture for? We asked you to take anything of us. Did we ask you to take our picture?
We can take a picture. Again? No.
Huh?
No, I can take a picture.
No? Oh, you say you didn't take a picture, or you did?
No, I didn't take a picture.
what was you doing then? Pointing the camera.
No, only just for check. Can I, or you want to go to the police to check the phone?
If you did, maybe a curse on you.
I don't care because...
Well, if you did, maybe a curse onto you.
Yeah. And the winds carried them away. That no place was found for them.
No one's going to be dwelling in America anymore apart from the owls, cormorants, wild beasts. Yeah?
And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain.
That's the government, our government, our rulership.
And here we go. And filled the whole earth.
Right.
Verse.
But yeah, jump to Isaiah. And what's going to happen? Yahshua is going to come back, destroy this place, but in the meantime, before that happens, there's going to be war. And the Most High is mustering up the battle, man. You need to prepare yourself for war. Now, how are you going to survive in that day? Who's going to be your guide and your protection? There's only one real guide and one protection. That's Yahweh and it's Yahweh. And that's for the Israelites, those who want to repent. A lot more people don't want to repent, so you're going to have to face the judgment of these other nations.
Right? Those of our people, if you want to be ignorant, stay ignorant. Yeah, it's the book of Isaiah, chapter 13 and verse 1. And it reads, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amos, did see.
So this is what we're doing, man. We're coming out here to prophesy against, not for, many nations, great kingdoms of war, evil, and pestilence.
Verse 2, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them.
The voice that we're exalting is the voice of Yahweh.
God.
We're exalting that through these words that we're bringing out.
That's right.
Now whether you want to hear or from there, that's your business. You know, you want to pray that the Most High puts it in your spirit to hear.
Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Verse 3, I have commanded my sanctified ones, I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. Verse 4, the noise of a multitude in the mountain.
Noise of a multitude, and that's these other nations. There's going to be war coming. And in Joel it says, prepare for war.
Same verse, like in verse 4 still. Right. Isaiah chapter 13 from the top at verse 4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdom of nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle.
It's the Most High that's making all of these things going to happen. Put it in the spirit of these other nations to go to war.
Right.
You know, these nuclear bombs that's being built are being built for a reason.
That's
Don't
right.
go up on the walls and say, you know what, I got the biggest bomb. No. Yahweh's going to use them, man. Yeah?
Verse 5 of Isaiah chapter 13. They come from a far country.
That the scripture says, you know, they're building a pit to fall in their own pit.
Like the old saying says, when you dig a pit, dig two. Verse 5 of Isaiah chapter 13. They come from a far country, from the ends of heaven, even Yahweh, and the weapons of his indignation.
Those weapons, like we said, are those nuclear bombs that these other nations are building. He's going to use them to bring down this kingdom.
Right.
And you're going to fall by your own hands.
Right? Yeah. The weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land.
Build it up.
To destroy the whole land. Verse 6. Howl ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand.
That's what we're waiting for. And Yahweh, he keeps the faith in us to the end.
Right.
That we can endure to the end. That in that day of judgment, we can be delivered from this,
Right.
As they say, God-forsaken place.
You know. It shall come as a destruction of the Almighty. Verse 7. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt.
So all you scoffers, in that day, none of you lot ain't gonna have the strength to be scoffing. Yeah?
Verse 8. Yeah, verse 8 of Isaiah chapter 13. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them.
Yeah, so in that day, they ain't gonna have no more tough mind,
You know.
no more scoffers. In that day, the Most High is gonna justify his prophets. Yeah, so, you know, we're telling you to repent. Whilst there's still time, repent. Before judgment come, repent. And if you don't want to repent, you face judgment with these other nations. Can you jump down to
I'll take it from the top of 8 again. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 8. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth.
No more that tough guy. You know, that scoffing spirit. He's just going to go in an instant. In the twinkle of an eye, all you scoffers are going to be instant believers, man.
Right. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flame.
Yeah, man. You're going to be fulfilling Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 2. 5 and 1. You know? At the amazement of our salvation, you know. We fools count their lives as madness and their head to be without honor. Yeah? But yeah.
This is the book of Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 14, and it reads, no. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 14, and it reads, and it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people. Oh. Yeah. They shall Lucky Israel, it's just him giving problems as usual. This is Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 14 from the top. And it reads, and it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. Verse 15, everyone that is found shall be thrust through.
When the scripture says separate from them, was it be ye separate?
Yep.
This is what you have to do, man, because if you don't, it says everyone that is found shall be thrust
through. And everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Shall fall by the sword.
Yeah, so with that, we're telling our people to repent. We're going to close out. Give all praises to Yahweh, Hashem,
Repent ye, keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and the faith of Yahweh, which is the one that you ignorantly call Christ. We out.